More people to the panel this morning. Joshua Nyamori, an advocate of the High Court. Karibu sana wakili.
Thank you, Fred.
And Arnold Maliba was a party leader, Progress Plus Alliance. Karibu sana. We've discussed this thing at length. So I'll just give you probably a minute and a half each to contribute to this before we move to the other issue. We were talking about the style of the president, that this opening up of the presidency, demystifying the presidency. There are people who feel that that is part of the problem, that President William Ruto and probably even his predecessor getting too close to the people, and they've contributed to this understanding that yes, I can go shake the president's hand, I can hug him, and that is part of the problem. Wakili.
Yeah, I don't think that that's part of the problem. I think, you see, President William Ruto ran on a very clear, mandate to demystify government. The hustler nation was to make even the presidency accessible to the people. And so in his nature, true nature, the president would always want to reach out to the people, would always want to allow people to reach out to him and interact with the common man where the common man is. And but then the challenge is that we must differentiate between President William Ruto, the accessible politician, leader who is empathetic, who wants to know, feel the pulse of the nation and engage directly with the common person, and the presidency as a symbol of national unity that must be that belongs to the republic and therefore must be protected. And then we have grave examples from around the world of open, accessible leaders who got hurt and even died, not from attacks from known enemies, but rather from their access to the republic. I always give the example of 1995, when Yitzhak Rabin walked into a crowd of Israelis, and there was intelligence that there was a planned assassination, but the entire presidential guard and Mossad, for that matter, was looking all round for an Arab in the crowd. Okay, but an Israeli guy who was just a few meters from him had all the time to shoot 3 times, and that costed the life of a great leader who would have led reforms between Israel and Palestine. So I would want to sue for a mixture, that the president must be allowed to continue being as accessible as possible. But in doing this, the presidential guard must recalibrate to know that they are not dealing with Moi, they are not dealing with Kibaki, they are not dealing with Uhuru, who some part of them were laid back, part of them were not accessible, part of them, felt entitled to the trappings of power. They are dealing with a real hustler who would want to be out there in the crowd, and who, the other challenge that the presidential guard is facing is that unlike all those other presidents who do an event or 2 in a day, this is a president who would do, 10, 12 events in diverse areas. And so the system needs to recalibrate to ensure that the presidency is protected, even within that framework, but without taking the president away from the people.
Yes. From a communications standpoint,